Lily started checking my location more and more often. She'd lean in close late at night, sniffing my collar, her eyes sharp with interrogation. Until the night I caught her kissing our neighbor Kevin in the garage, and she screamed first, "Why have you been avoiding me lately?" I brushed the rose-scented perfume stain off my shirt and asked calmly, "Do you want me to help you pack?" Lily started checking my phone's location again. I leaned against the kitchen island, the coffee burning my hand. Morning light sliced across the floor, pinning her hunched silhouette to the wall. Her fingers swiped the screen fast, hard. Her shoulder blades were taut beneath the silk pajama top. She hadn't touched the glass of milk I'd left on the nightstand. It had gone cold, a wrinkled skin forming on the surface, like flesh that had lost its elasticity. I drank the coffee, solidly bitter. Third time this week, or the fourth, didn't matter. "You're up early," she said without looking up. Her voice was sticky with sleep, hoarse, but there was a hook in it, sharp. "Yeah, deadline," I said, rinsing the mug in the sink. The water was cold. She finally turned toward me, squinting against the light. "What about this afternoon? What time will you be back?" "Not sure." I dried my hands, every finger carefully wiped. "Don't wait for me for dinner." She stared at me, her gaze crawling over my face, like she was inspecting something once lost and imperfectly recovered. Then her eyes dropped to the suit jacket draped over the chair. She walked over, picked it up, lowered her head, and buried her nose in the fabric, inhaling deeply. Her eyelashes were long. When she lowered them, they cast two quiet shadows over her eyes. But there was no peace in those shadows, only focused searching for a scent that didn't belong to this home, something unfamiliar, something female. There was nothing, just the faint lemon of detergent and the dry down of my cologne. She lifted her head, the light in her eyes dimmed for a second, then was swallowed by thicker suspicion. She didn't believe it. She didn't believe she'd found nothing. I put on the jacket and smoothed the cuffs. "I'm heading out." She didn't respond. I opened the door and stepped into the garage. Cold air, laced with motor oil and dust. My car sat there beside her white SUV, the two vehicles facing off in silence. I started the engine. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw the curtain in the upstairs bedroom window twitch, then fall still again. Days began to feel like a worn-out tape, replaying the same few frames. I came home later and later. The steady light stayed on deep into the night. The late-night snacks she brought were left untouched on the rug outside the door, cold, grease congealing into pale spots. Our conversations shrank to utilities. Trash day, and okay, got it. She started testing me. At dinner, she dragged the silver steak knife lightly across her plate. A thin scraping sound. "Jason," she said casually, "the new VP at my company asked me out for coffee today." She paused, glanced up to gauge my reaction. We talked for a long time. I chewed my broccoli and nodded. "Nice." Her knife and fork stopped. "He's divorced. Pretty charming." "Is that so?" I took a sip of water. She set the utensils down, her voice tightening. "Don't you have anything to say?" I looked at her. Like what? My eyes were empty, big enough to hold all her unease, and give it nowhere to land. "Hope you had a good chat?" A flush crept up her cheeks, not embarrassment, but the afterheat of anger doused with cold water. She shoved her chair back and left the dining room. Her footsteps were heavy, pounding across the wood floor all the way upstairs. She changed her perfume. It used to be light and fruity. Now it was thick, powdery rose, cloyingly sweet, aggressive. Late at night, when I came home, it drifted from the collar of the robe she threw on in a hurry, mixed with something subtler, a man's aftershave, faint, but unmistakable, and not fully masked by our shared body wash. My reaction stayed flat like a deep, stagnant pool. Every stone she threw sank without a ripple. Her anxiety fermented into a scorched earth kind of hostility. The cold standoff between us turned hot, sharp, abrasive. That night, I was working late again. It was nearly 1 a.m. when I turned into the neighborhood. The streets were empty, street lights dim. I pulled into our driveway, lining up for the garage. My headlights swept past Kevin's dark windows, past the black sports car in front of his garage, then stopped dead. The garage door was half open, no lights inside, but between the streetlight and my headlights, I could see perfectly clearly. Two bodies pressed tightly together, pinned against the hood of Kevin's car. Lily's dress was bunched at her waist, one leg hooked around the man's hip. It was Kevin, our neighbor who mowed his lawn every weekend. All sunshine smiles. His hand was buried in Lily's thick curls. They were kissing, violently, like they meant to devour each other. A muffled sound came from Lily's throat, not resistance. I hit the brakes. Tires shrieked sharply against the pavement. The headlights blazed on them like a stage spotlight. Both bodies froze, like insects caught in amber. Kevin reacted first, shoving Lily away, stumbling back, face drained of color as he fumbled with his zipper. Lily slid off the hood like she'd been burned, yanking at her dress to cover exposed skin. She looked up at my car. The light washed her face pale, eyes wide, pupils filled with shock, and something stranger, the furious shame of being caught. Then she did something I didn't expect. Instead of retreating or explaining, she charged a few steps toward my car, arms flailing, her shrill voice slicing through the night. "Jack, what are you hiding there for? Why have you been avoiding me lately?" She struck first. Her voice was hoarse with excitement and leftover heat, but she forced it louder, trying to drown out everything else. Her chest heaved. The buttons on her expensive silk blouse were misaligned, exposing black lace underneath and red marks Kevin had left. I switched off the headlights and stepped out of the car. The garage sank into deeper shadow, lit only by a distant street lamp. My footsteps echoed as I walked toward her. She could smell the cold night air clinging to me. I could smell her sugary rose perfume, Kevin's minty aftershave, and beneath it all, the raw animal tang of sex. She lifted her chin, lips trembling, about to speak again. I didn't look at her. My eyes dropped to my shirt cuff, smudged with dust from the garage wall, and tinged with the faintest trace of rose, not mine, picked up when she rushed at me. I lowered my head, brushed the dust away with my fingertips, then carefully wiped at the invisible scent. Only then did I look up at her. Her momentum drained under my calm, collapsing into stiff, performative defiance. I spoke quietly, almost gently, but in the silence of the garage, every word landed cleanly. "Do you want me to help you pack your bags, Lily?" Her expression shattered, like a carefully stacked house of cards blown apart by a single breath. Shock, rage, humiliation, confusion, then nothing. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Only her eyes kept widening, reflecting the spiderweb shadows on the garage ceiling and my blank face. Behind me, Kevin gave a small, awkward cough, trying to melt back into the darkness. I didn't turn around. I just looked at Lily and waited. Cold night air poured in through the open garage door. Somewhere far away, a dog barked, then stopped. In the dead silence, the only sound was her breathing, faster, rougher, unraveling by the second.